And he died 5 months later. And before he died, I was able to tell him that I loved him. So many elected officials, Democrats as well as Republicans, take money from the fossil fuel industry, and now it's going to be the nuclear industry. Since the book has been out, I've gotten many, many letters from Vietnam veterans who indicate that they have healed and that they are forgiving.
Jane Fonda is 87. However, she experienced an unexpected event. In Vietnam, a woman sat on enemy guns, leg warmers, and the actress who made America perspire. So, the celebrity who vanished for 15 years. She has returned. She also doesn't look like you recall. Everyone at the Oscars was taken aback by her hair. Her visage conveys a tale that Hollywood attempted to conceal. Some claim she discovered the key. She paid a price, according to others. The truth is more bizarre than any character she has ever portrayed in a film. Fame, wealth, and pressure were all part of Jane Fonda's birth. Henry Fonda, her father, was already a Hollywood rising star. Her mother, Frances, had a royal family history and was from a high-class background. On December 21, 1937, she was born in one of the wealthiest areas of Manhattan. Everything appeared to be flawless from the outside. Inside the Fonda home, however, it was quite the opposite. Her father was away for extended periods of time due to his acting career. He was aloof, cold, and easily agitated when he was at home. Her mother spent time in and out of mental health facilities. Jane's mother committed herself while in an institution when she was just 12 years old. For months, she was not told the truth. It was diagnosed as a heart attack. Later, when she read about it in a magazine, she realized it was suicide. There was no solace, no justification. The family simply moved on. Even attending the burial was forbidden to Jane. After that, she hardly said her mother's name. Jane's affluent and well-known childhood turned into a golden prison. Feelings were less important than appearances. She never learned how to mourn in private, but she grew up knowing how to grin in public. Henry, her father, was unable to express his affection for her Resvoya. Not to her brother Peter, not to Jane. Although he was unreachable in real life, he was able to portray emotions on television. According to Peter, he only heard Henry say those 3 words when their father was elderly and near death. For years, Jane made an effort to win his approval, but he hardly ever complimented her. He seldom offered anything. Her mother, Frances, suffered from severe mental illness. She was frequently absent. Jane had no idea why. She would discover later that her mother suffered from bipolar disorder. Even worse, she had experienced childhood sexual assault. Everything was formed by that trauma. The way Frances behaved, her appearance, and her affection. Frances briefly returned home from the institution just before she passed away. She invited her kids to visit her room. Jane chose not to go. She remained upstairs. Her brother left. Jane was unable to. Perhaps she was unsure of how. Perhaps she was afraid. She could not have seen her mother alive again after that. Frances died a month later. For years, Jane blamed herself. She believed her mother had died as a result of her icy response. Guilt festered. It developed into something sinister. She gave up eating. She then went on a binge. She then purified. The cycle lasted for 23 years. For the most of her early acting career, Jane suffered with bulimia. She later acknowledged that she believed she would die before turning 30. Being a movie star was not Jane Fonda's dream. She actually made an effort to avoid it. Director Joshua Logan wanted her to co-star with her father, Henry Fonda, in The Country Girl back in 1954. No, she said. She simply didn't want to be an actress at the moment. She wasn't prepared to enter her father's world because of their tense relationship. Hollywood, however, continued to pursue her. She was already well known on Broadway by that point. However, this movie signaled her real Hollywood debut. It had a good opening for a rookie earning $1.07 million in the US and Canada. It's interesting to note that a young Robert Redford made his first uncredited film appearance in the picture. It was the official beginning of Fonda's career. However, what's the irony? The exact individual she had fled from gave her her big break. Her life took a drastic turn a few years later. She met Roger Vadim, a French director, in December 1963. He was brash, nearly 10 years older, and well known for his liaisons with celebrities like as Brigitte Bardot and Catherine Deneuve. On August 14, 1965, Fonda married him in Las Vegas. She was still battling with fears, bulimia, and negative emotions regarding her father at the age of 28. Vadim intervened with a perilous blend of charisma and authority. He molded her public persona and positioned her in jobs that were thought-provoking. He organized her social life, styled her, and directed her. In 1968, Vanessa, their daughter, was born. However, things were gloomy behind the scenes. Fonda later disclosed that Vadim forced her to flirt with ladies for him and forced her into threesomes. He encouraged her to act seductive off-screen in order to fulfill his desires, using her part in Clute as a tool. All the while, she was softly collapsing. Then Barbarella arrived. The 1968 science fiction movie was a riot of color, sensuality, and controversy. Fonda portrayed a space heroine navigating a dangerous and lustful universe while wearing a skimpy dress. Naturally, Vadim directed it. America was taken aback. The sensuality, the nudity, for the moment it was all too much. It was memorable, though. However, Fonda's trembling behind the scenes was not seen to the audience. She acknowledged using vodka prior to recording naked scenes. She was not feeling brave. She was afraid. Vadim had assured her that the final cut would include text over some of the photos. They weren't. She and the others discovered it at the theater. That betrayal was deeply hurtful. She gained cult status and became a sex icon as a result of Barbarella. But she was also forced into an unchosen image. As Vadim desired, the pressure to appear seductive on film began to permeate her daily life. Her money was disappearing all the while. Vadim did more than just manipulate her feelings. He drained her of her money. He funded personal projects and threw extravagant parties with her salary. Fonda was not merely funding a union. She was footing the bill for his whole entourage. Her workload increased along with her notoriety. To maintain his standard of living, she had to continue working. She had little defense against this gradual financial decline, and Europe paid less than Hollywood. Her sense of value began to erode. She was well-known, successful, and well-liked, yet she lacked authority. This was not an isolated incident. There were other men who attempted to mold her besides Vadim. It was a common tendency in Fonda's relationships. Charming, powerful men who desired her fame, money, or both. Due to unresolved pain, she continued to slip into their orbit. Poor self-esteem and a strong need to be noticed. She was an easy victim because of her childhood injuries. Jane Fonda was more than just a role player. She turned into them. She also stunned Hollywood in 1971 with a performance that seemed too authentic to be staged. In Clute, she portrayed Bree Daniels, a call girl from New York who is entangled in a perilous mystery. Bree, however, was real. She was broken and raw, powerful. Interviewed actual sex workers for weeks, learning about their humanity, anxieties, and survival. Despite only costing $2.05 million to produce, the movie made nearly $12 million. It was appreciated by critics. People were talking about it nonstop. Additionally, Fonda was carrying more than just a statue when she took the stage to claim her Best Actress award at the 1972 Oscars. She was carrying evidence that she had formally entered a new category of celebrity. Fonda, however, did not arrive overnight. They shoot horses, don't they, 2 years ago? She played Gloria Beatty, a lady who begs for death because she is so broken by the world. In the midst of the Great Depression, desperate people compete in a cruel dance marathon in hopes of winning cash. It's depressing. Sweating is going on. It crushes your soul. For the part, Fonda trained like a boxer, dancing until her legs failed her and recording scenes that made her cry. Best Actress was one of 9 Oscar nominations that followed. Although she didn't win that evening, it smashed records. The winner was Maggie Smith. Nevertheless, Fonda was now viewed by the public as someone who could break your heart with a single glance rather than as a beauty queen or starlet. Her life was a maelstrom off-screen. She wed French filmmaker Roger Vadim in 1965. They had a daughter named Vanessa by 1968. However, the glitz quickly vanished. Vadim chased women, gambled, and drank. Fonda later said that she cried every day following the delivery and that she struggled with postpartum depression. She felt unfit to be a mother. She thought she was vanishing. Their marriage ended in 1973. Jane Fonda took a plane to Hanoi in July 1972. The world was astonished by her choice to travel behind enemy lines during the still-raging Vietnam War. The vacation wasn't impulsive for her. Tom Hayden, her activist companion, had pushed for it. After flying undercover through Paris and Moscow, she eventually landed in the capital of North Vietnam on an Aeroflot aircraft. She was welcomed like a valued guest by uniformed North Vietnamese authorities upon her arrival. They were fully aware of their actions. She was more than just a tourist in their eyes. She could be exploited to make America look bad because she was a Hollywood celebrity. Jane was shown everything they wanted her to see for 2 weeks. Schools were destroyed, industry were wrecked, hospitals were bombed, and war museums were loaded with heartbreaking pictures. She received treatment for a foot injury sustained after an air raid at the Vietnam-Soviet Friendship Hospital. Doctors at Viet Duc Hospital informed her that they were researching birth problems brought on by chemical assaults in the United States. She also went on a tour of the Red River Delta's bombed-out dikes, where residents said U.S. forces were attempting to flood fields and destroy food supplies. It was denied by Washington. Jane had faith in them. She returned certain that America was not just attacking military installations but also farmland and citizens. She didn't keep quiet about it either. Her journey garnered international attention and immediately infuriated her own country. She was not the first to visit North Vietnam. Activists, reporters, and even veterans. However, none of them were internationally renowned actresses who had won Oscars. Her voice reverberated, and everything blew up when she used it. She also took on the position of a broadcaster while she was in Hanoi. Jane gave a number of broadcast appearances on Broadcast Hanoi, the official station of North Vietnam, between late July and early August. These were not merely peace negotiations. She instructed American pilots to return home and cease bombing missions. She referred to the airstrikes as genocide and accused their leaders of being war criminals. She talked about the agony and strength of the Vietnamese people, and talked about what she observed in places of worship like the Temple of Literature, kindergartens, and textile industries. However, it was not her voice that most infuriated Americans. It was a picture. Jane was brought to a military location in North Vietnam on the final day of her journey. She was shown an anti-aircraft gun there, the type that is used to shoot down American aircraft. What came next? It out to be among the most notorious incidents in American popular culture. Jane sat on the weapon, clapping and laughing. Cameras swung. The picture went viral. She was instantaneously transformed into Hanoi Jane. It was a vicious blowback. Veterans felt deceived. Pilots' families were incensed. Lawmakers called for a treason trial. The foreign war veterans demanded that she be prosecuted. Some states even considered outlawing her films. Her career almost fell apart. Death threats were sent to her. Everywhere she went, protesters followed. A protest had been transformed into a scandal by the picture, which would haunt her for the rest of her life. Years later, Jane acknowledged that the picture was the worst mistake she had ever made in her 2005 autobiography, My Life So Far. She claimed to have been worn out, bewildered, and overtaken by emotions. Sitting on the gun was never her intention. She followed the mob mindlessly after being led there following a musical performance. She wrote, "I let it happen, but it might have been a setup." She described it as a 2-minute moment of lunacy that she would always regret. She repeatedly expressed her regret to veterans, their families, and whomever else the picture might have offended. But she was never forgiven by many. Despite all of her regrets, Jane remained true to her primary convictions. She never expressed regret for traveling to North Vietnam or for opposing the war. She was clear. She continued to be an activist. She stated it was her responsibility to speak out since she thought the war was wrong. She claimed that despite the fact that many Americans had visited Hanoi, only she, a well-known actress, had received punishment. She claimed in speeches, blog entries, and interviews that the true cause of the outrage was her audacity in publicly criticizing the administration, and she didn't feel bad about it. Tom Hayden, her lover, supported her. They were married in 1973, 1 year after the trip to Hanoi. Their house became a hub for political activism. They organized and led the Indochina peace campaign throughout the nation. Included a well-known visit to the Ohio State Fair. In the 1980s, Jane even started making aerobics videos to raise money for Hayden's political campaigns. They stayed married for 17 years, produced anti-war movies together, and had a son named Troy in 1973. Their impact on political activism persisted even after in 1990 divorce. In 1980, Jane made an incredible career comeback. 9 to 5, a comedy about 3 women standing up to a sexist employer, became a huge hit. It became the second highest grossing movie of the year, earning over $103 million in the US and $103.03 million globally, in addition to becoming a It was relevant to all working women. The #1 song on the charts was Dolly Parton's theme. It was followed by a Broadway musical and TV series. Before appearing on Golden Pond in 1981, Jane had regained the affection of audiences. Jane, who played a daughter attempting to get back in touch with her elderly parents, featured opposite Henry Fonda, her real-life father. Their tense and aloof relationship in real life was reflected in the movie. The film became the second highest box office smash of the year with over $119 million in revenue. It received 3 Oscars, including Best Actor for Henry out of 10 nominations. Since he was too sick to come, Jane accepted the prize on his behalf. Only a few months later, he passed away. Jane Fonda did more than simply capitalize on the 1980s fitness craze. She made it. When she put Jane Fonda's work out on VHS in 1982, it went viral. They sold more than 17 million copies. It was a movement rather than merely an achievement. Her exercise book had already achieved success just a year prior, selling over 2 million copies and spending 2 years on the New York Times list. She broke her foot in 1978, which sparked the entire concept. She started doing aerobics while she recovered. As a result, she and instructor Lenny Kasten opened a studio in Beverly Hills, where they established practices that were accessible, intimate, and particularly welcoming to women. Her positive slogans such as "Feel the Burn" and her leg warmers gained popular during a period when gyms seemed like males' clubs. Women purchased VCRs specifically to play her tapes, not just to listen to them. Not only did Jane give the world a fitness tape, but she also revolutionized the way women worked out. Observed their bodies and their function in fitness and wellness. What was even more startling, though, was her background. Jane Fonda was not well known for her leg lifts and leotards in the late 1960s and early 1970s. She had a reputation for anger. She protested the Vietnam War by marching. She was pictured sitting atop an enemy anti-aircraft gun during her 1972 tour to North Vietnam. She became known as Hanoi Jane as a result of that photograph, and there was a lot of negative reaction. She co-founded a significant political organization in Hollywood and backed the American Indian cause and the Black Panthers. Then, as if overnight, she became the fitness queen of America. Her recording CDs, books, and fitness empire brought in millions of dollars. She didn't keep it all, though. She discreetly donated a large portion of the funds to the left-wing causes, including the fight for economic democracy. No one anticipated this reinvention. She was a political lightning rod at one point. She was the cheerful face of healthy living the next day. She managed to make both personas work somehow. There were more surprises to come. At the age of 54, Jane wed media mogul Ted Turner in a low-key ceremony attended by about 30 people in December 1991. Turner, the Atlanta Braves owner and CNN millionaire creator, was a tycoon. Following Jane's divorce from campaigner Tom Hayden, he pursued her assiduously. Although it was both her and his third marriage, something felt different. Their vows were written by her. She was given away by her son. They had an opulent lifestyle. Private jets, expansive ranches, and CNN penthouse. But there was a price for that glitz. Jane stopped performing completely. She disappeared from the Hollywood scene for the next 15 years. A 1990 TV special had been her last appearance before the break. Then nothing. No red carpets, no movies. She then said that her enthusiasm for acting had faded. I considered leaving everything behind to pursue a career in environmental activism. It was before Turner that she was so sad. She believed she needed a fresh start. She first gave her all to the marriage. She even said that in order to be with Ted, she sacrificed everything, including her acting career and her companies. However, Turner was not a space-giving husband. He wanted Jane to be with him all the time. She claimed that it felt more like babysitting than love. They made an attempt at therapy. Compromises were tried. In January 2000, however, they split up. The divorce was finalized by 2001. Jane left with a 2,500-acre ranch, $100 million in assets and stock, and a sizable payout. She has, however, always been kind to him. At one point, she referred to him as her favorite ex-husband. She acknowledged, however, that she had changed to fit into his society, and she was broken by it. One of Hollywood's greatest surprising comebacks would result from that epiphany. When Jane Fonda received a script for the romantic comedy Monster-in-Law in 2005, she was almost 65 years old. It was her first significant part in 15 years. Jennifer Lopez starred in the film, and although Jane was aware that the younger star would attract audiences, she had a strategy. People would rediscover her once they arrived. And that's precisely what took place. Jane's portrayal of a domineering mother-in-law was quite funny. The audiences adored it. On a $43 million budget, the movie made nearly $154 million. Despite having differing opinions about the film, critics mostly agreed. Every scene had been taken by Jane Fonda. The choice to work on that movie was later referred to by her as the only wise career choice she ever made. And all of a sudden, she was back. The woman from Monster-in-Law was suddenly well known to those under 30 who had never heard of her Oscars. She delivered another curveball just when everyone thought she may calm down. She portrayed Nancy Reagan in The Butler, directed by Lee Daniels in 2013. A firestorm was sparked by the casting. Outrage quickly spread about Fonda, the anti-war activist portraying the ultra-conservative First Lady. Veterans organizations demonstrated. Boycotts appeared online. The actress and the activist were inseparable. Jane, however, refused to back down. She took the role seriously. Through mutual connections, she even contacted Nancy Reagan, who reportedly didn't oppose. Fonda had a brief but impactful performance. The movie made more than $177 million worldwide, but Jane dominated the news. She made no attempt to quell the criticism. "Get a life" was her straightforward response. Her next big initiative reflected that bold mentality. Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda reteamed in 2015 for the Grace and Frankie Netflix sitcom. The program followed two 70-year-old women who are taken by surprise when their husbands leave them for one another. It was audacious, amusing, and a success. With 94 episodes spread across 7 seasons, Grace and Frankie became the longest-running original sitcom on Netflix. The audiences adored Fonda and Tomlin's chemistry, honesty, and wit. It was also acclaimed by critics. Rotten Tomatoes gave the show an 88% rating. Nominations for Emmys ensued. More significantly, though, the series transformed live. One viewer claimed that her sister's life was saved by the broadcast. After her husband came out, she was suicidal, but seeing Grace and Frankie gave her hope. Jane Fonda was now having an influence like that, and she wasn't finished yet. After decades of somber dramas and political declarations, Jane discovered comedy in her 70s and 80s. Although Monster-in-Law had initiated it, Grace and Frankie demonstrated her talent. She gave scathing words in her role as Grace Hanson, elevated physical comedy to a new level by taking pratfalls. Her timing was ideal, according to the show's creators. This late career change was remarkable for an actress who was previously known for parts in Coming Home and Clute, but she accepted it wholeheartedly. She was more than merely pertinent. She was amusing, and viewers were captivated. Then, in 2023, Jane featured in 80 for Brady at the age of 85. Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Sally Field, and Rita Moreno played 4 elderly women who went on an exciting journey to watch Tom Brady play in the Super Bowl. It worked and was based on a real story. The movie honored female fans' friendship and aging. Once more, Jane's portrayal of Trish, a romantic novelist who enjoys drama and wigs, dominated the show. The film wasn't merely enjoyable, it conveyed a message. At 60, 70, or even 80, life does not end. In talks with the media, Fonda spoke candidly about maintaining her physical activity, mental acuity, and visibility. She wanted people to understand that elderly women are not done, are not invisible. Jane Fonda shocked the world with a very personal announcement at the age of 84. She disclosed on Instagram in September 2022 that she had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, an immune system-related blood cancer. Despite the seriousness of the news, she did not duck it. The survival rate was about 80%, she said, and the malignancy was fairly curable. She was forthright about having access to first-rate medical treatment, which she claimed many Americans cannot afford. She then took it a step further. She called out the use of chemicals and fossil fuels, many of which have been linked to cancer. Most people would have remained silent given her age and notoriety. However, Jane made advantage of her diagnosis to advocate for environmental justice and equitable access to health care. Furthermore, this was not a phase of retirement. She continued to march in climate protests while filming the last season of Grace and Frankie. She did not slow down, despite having cancer. Millions of people were moved by her unvarnished candor, particularly when it came to age and disease, especially older persons who don't often have their problems highlighted. Jane, however, talked about more than just her sickness. She demonstrated to the world what it was like to undergo chemotherapy and remain active in society. She announced that she would start 6 months of chemotherapy the same month she disclosed her diagnosis. She continued to be an activist. She continued to hold her fire drill on Fridays and attend rallies. Jane made sure people knew she wasn't hiding, and her doctors reported that the treatment was progressing well. She discussed the adverse impacts. She arrived happy, despite her fatigue. Not everyone could afford the treatment she was receiving, she reminded everyone. Nevertheless, she continued. For those experiencing the same issue, her social media became a lifeline. Although she didn't sugarcoat anything, she also refused to let the illness define who she was. Others found strength in her public handling of chemotherapy without backtracking. It demonstrated that being sick doesn't have to keep you quiet, it can help you become more focused. Then the much-anticipated moment arrived. Jane received the news in December 2022, a few days before her 85th birthday. She had remission from her cancer. She referred to it as the most amazing birthday gift ever. She expressed gratitude to her supporters and medical staff in a blog post with the same title. She claimed that the initial chemotherapy cycles were only mildly exhausting, but she was severely impacted by the last session. She was exhausted for 2 weeks as a result. She nevertheless attended her first live fire practice in Washington, D.C. on Friday when the negative effects subsided. Her story made headlines again, not because she defeated cancer, but because she took advantage of her remission to speak out once more. That one act summed up who she is. She expressed gratitude to her fans for their prayers and said that their support enabled her to recover. Her comeback was particularly impactful for the elderly. It served as a reminder to everyone that even at 85, recovery is achievable and that cancer therapies had advanced significantly. Jane Fonda was defying expectations long before she was diagnosed. She made waves at the Oscars in February 2020. She dazzled everyone when she went onto the stage with her silver hair. She was 82. It took 7 hours to convert. Her hair was bleached and toned by her colorist, Jack Martin, to give it that sophisticated ice silver hue. Jane, however, did not merely occupy a chair in a salon. During those 7 hours, she wrote book chapters, committed lines to memory for Grace and Frankie, and responded to emails. It was not a fashion moment. It has to do with freedom. She declared that she had spent all of her time, money, and effort attempting to look young. She took pride in her advanced age. Her gray hair became more than just a fashion statement. It developed into a movement. When women saw it, they understood they didn't have to conceal their age either. Jane gave strength to honesty and beauty to gray. Jane Fonda is still active at the age of 87. She exercises out every day. As she has gotten older, she has modified her regimen, but she hasn't stopped. She takes long walks for cardio and alternates between upper and lower body workouts. Walking became her preferred activity after she stopped running. To maintain her flexibility, she stretches every day. She protects her posture and balance by doing core exercises, using resistance bands, and using small weights. She can modify exercises to fit her energy levels and avoid damage with the guidance of her personal trainer. But what people remember about her is her philosophy. Instead of doing nothing at all, she always advises doing what you can. That message is straightforward but impactful. It breaks through the need to be flawless. Additionally, it's a call to perseverance for senior citizens. It's not vanity that drives Jane's fitness. It's about joy, strength, and independence. Furthermore, by disclosing her habits, she allows others to see for themselves.